Hello, Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for Kentucky news and analysis from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. Well, you wouldn't want to be Andy Beshear this week. You probably don't want to be Andy Beshear any week, actually. But this week would be particularly bad to be old Andy Pandy because of three big reasons. Number one, he is being sued by Donald Trump. Number two, his aspirations for becoming the next president seem to be taking a downturn. And number three, the United States Supreme Court just gave him a smackdown with a ruling this week. Let's look at these three topics in particular. First of all, why is Donald Trump suing Andy Beshear? And yes, a lawsuit came out this week, and it lists Andy Beshear personally by name in this lawsuit for that the Trump administration is handing down. Why are they suing him? Because there is a regulation that's in place here in the Beshear administration that would allow in-state tuition discounts be given to illegal aliens here in Kentucky. Now, of course, if in-tuition discounts are given to illegal aliens, this is costing you, the taxpayer, money. Because you realize when a student gets an in-state tuition discount, it doesn't mean the university just doesn't charge them that much. The state of Kentucky actually has a special fund in the budget, and the taxpayers are the one that are paying this difference. And so what Andy Beshear has in this policy here, in this regulation, is saying, listen, the Kentucky taxpayer is going to be paying a special fee to let illegal aliens go to Kentucky universities and colleges. It is estimated that this school year alone, more than $100,000 is going to be spent for this. You ever wonder why is college so expensive? Well, here's one of the reasons why. So members of the Kentucky General Assembly are speaking out against this. One member said these words, quote, "This regulation discriminates against U.S. citizens, both those born here and those who have followed the lawful path to citizenship," end quote. The Attorney General of Kentucky, the state's highest-ranking law enforcement officer, is the Attorney General Russell Coleman, and he's come out and said that he has, quote, "serious concerns," end quote, about how this regulation under the Beshear administration is violating federal law, and he fully supports President Trump's efforts in this matter. Some of the members of the Kentucky General Assembly are speaking about this. One of them is Representative T.J. Roberts, who said this: "Unfortunately, the governor continues to defy the Constitution, manipulate the regulatory process to advance his own agenda, and misuse the powers of his office to elevate his national political ambitions." What the representative is referring to there is how Andy Beshear is trying to position himself to run for president. And he keeps making all the wrong choices, whether it comes to supporting riots or here trying to give U.S. taxpayer money to illegal aliens in giving and discriminating against American citizens who would apply for that same thing. And of course, his presidential aspirations are taking a bit of a downturn. Andy Beshear, just like Patriot Point is a podcast, Andy Beshear has a podcast. And just last week, his show had a little more than 1,000 views. 2 weeks ago, his show only had 600 some views. If you're positioning yourself to try to run for president, and your podcast is getting 600 views or a little more than 1,000, that does not bode well for your chances to run for president. Of course, that leads us to our third and final topic on why Andy Beshear is really having a rough week. And that is how this week the United States Supreme Court just gave a smackdown to Andy Beshear's policies and a law that he was trying to stop here in Kentucky. Back in the year 2023, the Kentucky General Assembly passed Senate Bill 150. What this would do was make it Kentucky law, would make it illegal to perform a sex change surgery on a minor. For some reason, the General Assembly thought, you know what, you really shouldn't mutilate children this way. Andy Beshear vetoed that. He wanted to go ahead and let them do these mutilation surgeries on children. However, the legislature overrode that veto. And this has been going with several other states all the way up through the legal system. And just this week, there was a similar law dealing with a Tennessee law, and it was upheld, meaning Kentucky's law is also upheld. So this is a major victory. The person who wrote this law for Kentucky is Kentucky State Senator Max Weise. This is what he said about this victory. This decision is a victory for common sense and the safety of our children. When the governor vetoed this bill, we overrode him because protecting children shouldn't be a partisan issue. Kentucky is stronger when decency and common sense, not politics, drive our leadership. And Senator Weise is quite correct in this statement. I applaud him for writing this bill. I thank Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman for defending it in the courts. And now Kentucky, Tennessee, and other states that have bills like this, you've just been given a big victory by the United States Supreme Court, which is smacking down Andy Beshear's policies where he's trying to do this to little children. So these are three things that are going on really on a national level that also affect us here in Kentucky. Three bad things for Andy Beshear, but happen to be good things for Kentuckians. So until next week, Patriots, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.